to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, I'll tell you what, I really, really like what we're going to be talking about today, but what made me laugh, made me cry, and made me really ticked off was the traffic of me trying to get here in time. I'm sorry we're a few minutes late, but it's always good to see you all here in the chat. I see Timon and Sultan Fahim and everyone coming in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. And we have our guests. We have our usual panelists all the way from a southern state. It is Maury.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, what's the weather like there?
Sunny.
Sunny. Okay.
Yeah, sunny and warm. Very warm.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, so that's our forecast from the future. You're not as far ahead of to the future as Stieg or our friends from Ireland, but we'll take a 1 hour forecast as long as the planet is still in existence. I at this point take it as good news. And of course, we also have Eddie from the future.
Hello.
Yes, we are getting ready for some wild stuff. It's wild stuff. Yeah, Sultan says, I just received the notification. Sometimes I don't. Yeah, YouTube sucks. They hate me. But that's okay, because I hate them too. So, well, I'll tell you, I'm in a perky mood today because I just got done with Pilates and I just went through all the emotions of every form of rage. And now I'm ready to talk about some funny stuff. We are talking mockumentaries, and we started off with the mockumentary of all mockumentaries that started it all way back in the 80s, and that is This Is Spinal Tap. Yeah, tell us about it, Maury.
Spinal Tap is a mockumentary about a heavy metal rock band going on their comeback tour, and
yeah, they have a new album. They're in the States from the UK to do a promotional tour for the new album. So that's the basic premise.
Yeah, and it was crazy. And we all know who the director. We know him by a different name than his real name.
Yeah, Meathead.
Yeah, Meathead. And we learned, of course, he is a real meathead when he got TDS. But yeah, go ahead.
Rob Reiner.
Yeah, Rob Reiner was the director, and yeah, it's this British heavy metal band that, in many ways, was kind of true to life.
Yeah, there are folks that have that didn't realize it was a documentary or a mockumentary. They actually thought it was a real band and stuff. It was Ozzy Osbourne that was. Yeah. It depressed him because he thought it was real, and he thought these people were actually going through this. So it's very, very, very well done. So
they related to it too well.
Too much, yeah. It was just a little too close to home. Yeah. And the band's kind of an amalgamation of a bunch of different things. They're very Beatlesque in some ways. They have a long history. They do flashback footage of the band from the 60s doing, more of a folky kind of thing, and then they've progressed and been one of the, so they're kind of Rolling Stones-ish in a way, but then also like I said, just kind of a combination of things.
Yeah, I loved it actually because it reminded me of the Ed Sullivan Show, one of the flashbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, they look and the matching outfits and the very groovy late 60s kind of psychedelic vibe with the girls dancing on the pedestals on either side of the band, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they just kind of do the different evolution of rock.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And as for some people seeing it as true to life, I was talking about this last night with my brother-in-law, and he said that some bands said that some of the things that would happen, especially on stage, was very true to life. That like the one where they got lost backstage.
Yeah. Yeah.
That actually does happen.
Well, it's easy to imagine. If you've ever been to like a sports arena where a lot of those kind of shows take place, the circular hallways that surround the thing, the backstage, it all looks the same. I mean, it's very, very, I can see easily getting lost back there.
Yeah. And that's the other things. I must say that there were several highlights. One of them was turning it up to 11.
Everybody remembers that scene.
Yeah.
It's just classic.
It's one more.
Yeah, Maury, what'd you think of that? That was crazy.
Yeah, like, why don't you just make 10 louder? But it's one better.
It goes to 11.
11.
Goes up to 11. Yeah, that was a good one. Fran Dressner's.
Yeah.
And of course, very different character from the nanny, and just the way with a straight face she was talking about some weird BDSM thing. They were, I don't even know what it was, like furries or animals on collars.
The album cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something. But see, the band had a history though of race, kind of racy, non really offensive album covers. One of them was they showed a picture of it. It was the Intravenous de Milo. Intravenous de Milo was the album. They had the Venus de Milo with the IV bag next to it. That was the album cover.
Shark
Shark Sandwich. Yeah. And then the Gospel According to Spinal Tap had stained glass and pictures of the band. So they had a history about. So this was going with their new album that they were there to promote. But the cover that the band submitted had to do with a young lady and a dog collar, and the name of the album is "Smell the Glove." I know.
It was so wrong.
It was pretty low. So anyway, so the promoters, basically the thing is the promoters are having trouble with they don't want to do the cover. So that's part of the drama that happens with the band.
So they just made their cover black.
Yeah, so they do. They make the cover black. Sort of like the White Album when it was the Black Album.
How black can it go? No more black.
It's just yeah, these guys are unimaginably offensive on every level, but there's quirkiness about it. They have no idea why that would be offensive. And and she makes the comment that it's sexist, and he says, well, there's nothing wrong with being sexy.
He was so stupid.
I know they're just not right. They're not real bright.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's also why people thought it was a real documentary.
Exactly.
And not that heavy metal artists are necessarily stupid, but some are, and or they're so high they don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Jacob. Good to see you here. Thank you for being here. Talking about this is Spinal Tap. So that was good. And then Eddie, the other part that just killed me was the Stonehenge sequence.
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite.
Oh man, yeah, that just a comedy of errors. I mean, everything. They had an artist rendering. They were sitting getting ideas together for this number about Stonehenge, and they were getting ideas. The lady drew out, or he drew out. Or somebody drew out a Stonehenge thing, and he wrote 18 instead of 18. Instead of 1/18 feet, he put 2 slashes, and it was 18 inches. Well, long story short, the set piece that was supposed to come flying in the middle of the number is 18 inches tall, and it comes, and they and they have these little folks dancing around it. They're made up like dwarfs and stuff, and it's a hysterical number. The look on the band's face when they turn around and they see what was supposed to be this enormous Stonehenge thing, and it's this tiny little thing you could put in the back seat, and it comes flying in. It's priceless. Yeah. But it's theater, and if anybody's if you've been around that, it can be familiar in some ways.
Yeah. Here, I think I got something here to share to give some perspective, though. I think everyone has seen this except for me. So this is my first time watching it. There we go. You can see that little Stonehenge there.
Oh yeah. It's flying in. And the guys dancing around it end up kind of kicking the wires because they're trying to avoid it, and so it ends up kind of bouncing around.
Yeah, there was that, and then there was the prancing elves or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
the little people are like,
Yeah.
I've had Stonehenge was almost in danger of being stomped to death by a little person.
Yeah. Gosh, that was crazy. And just the way they played it straight.
Oh
Too.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if there's been outtakes of this, but I can only imagine the outtakes
Well, yeah, yeah.
with them just. I just don't know how they didn't crack up. And of course, you could tell a lot of it was improvised.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's one thing that marks the style of these mockumentary films from Christopher Guest, is that they a lot of ad libbing, very little scripting. So.
Yeah. And let me see, what was some of the other stuff? Oh yeah, there's the the prancing elves, pixies, and and of course the woman that broke up everything, right?
Oh yeah,
the
see, there's a kind of a
girlfriend.
Yoko thing there. You know, one of the guitar player's girlfriend comes to join the tour, and
Yeah, messes up everything.
yeah,
Yeah, and they ended up so falling far down from where they were. They were opening for a puppet show.
yeah, at an amusement park, at a theme park. So the tour slowly disintegrates around them as they're going through it. Dates keep getting canceled, and
Yeah,
so
yeah, because they actually kind of sucked.
well, they have
In
the
my
distinction of being the self-proclaimed distinction of being UK's loudest band.
Yeah.
That's their claim to fame. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, they
Well-
really do kind of suck though, in a way. But then if you're into to some of that stuff, they're kind of rocking it a little bit. The lyrics are hysterical. It's worth doing the closed captioning when you watch it just to
Mhm.
keep up with the lyrics, because holy cow, some
Yeah.
of that. Oh my gosh, it gets pretty funny.
Yeah, even the lyrics are hilarious.
Yeah.
And
that was. Go ahead.
Well, the three actors that play the leads, Christopher Guest, Harry Shearer, and Michael McEwen, they actually played on the tracking, so it's them playing the instruments and stuff. They could really play. Apparently.
Oh yeah. Well, and I also liked the way when the lead singer was doing like, "Look at me, the sexy guy on the stage." That is a real thing, that a lot of those
Mhm.
rockers will do, and they'll like have their shirt off and they'll stick their chests out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But for some reason, when David Lee Roth did it, it looked better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Freddie Mercury. But no, it's fun. One of the parts that I nearly died at, besides the whole Stonehenge thing, was when the guy was like lying on his back doing the guitar,
Yeah,
and he couldn't get up.
Couldn't get back up.
And then the guy kept trying to pull him up, and he kept playing.
Yeah.
It almost would. It was almost like that kid on Christmas Story. I can't put my arms down, and this is like, I can't get up. He kept playing. And all while this is going on, you've got the groupies out in the audience screaming and going crazy, and you're like, these guys.
Yeah, that was when the tour was still going well, and they had
Mhm.
they had a good crowd and everything.
Yeah. Well, no, but I mean, it and then it managed towards the end. I don't know about you, Maury, but I felt a little bit almost emotional when they had that reunion, because the guy was there. He was in the wings, and then they were like, "Come on!" and he came out and played them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
see, they still love each other.
They're still good friends.
Yeah.
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 And then what was it? Japan.
Yeah, Japan.
Their song hit number 3, so then they were back on top.
Their song "Sex Farm" hit number 3 in Japan. So they're
Oh, I
touring.
know.
So they're hot in Japan.
Yeah, so they're always,
Yeah. See, that's why on so many different levels I've said I don't think they would be able to get away with this movie today.
probably not. No.
They'd be, how dare you?
Leaving my pitchfork in your hay.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jane.
really profound lyric,
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
boy. Yeah. So many different things about it. It was 90 minutes, and I don't know if I could have stood much more than 90 minutes because I was just like, what the every
Yeah.
5 seconds it was it was almost like those crack vids you find that they do nowadays, sometimes people on YouTube, but it was like a crack vid that lasted in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But with a slower pace. And so the subtlety of it.
And
well,
then
go ahead.
but then some of the actors that came big names later on, like you have Dana Carvey and
Mhm.
Billy
See-
Crystal playing the mimes.
Oh, that's right. They were mimes at one of
At the
one of
part
the
at Fran
shots.
Drescher's party.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
an
Fran
interesting
Drescher.
film you have to look at to watch for that because there's a lot of celebrities strung throughout it in little support roles and stuff. So
Before they were famous, yeah.
Yeah.
So is there here? I'm using my D&D dice, Maury. So Maury, is there anything else about this you want to maybe bring up? Anything funny, anything that's a highlight before we move on?
Well, like you said, just the different actors that pop up. You got Howard Hessman, you got Paul Schaefer, you got Fred
That's
Willard,
right.
Angela Houston, Paul Benedict from The Jeffersons. They played Bentley, the British neighbor.
On the
Mhm.
yeah.
Like he's in there.
Okay. Yeah, so an amazing cast. Just really good stuff. Eddie, any last words?
I found out while doing a little bit of trivia reading that Christopher Guest, who plays Nigel, one of the leads, that he had a role. I don't know whether it was recurring or just a one-off, but he was on All in the Family, and so maybe that's where he and Rob Reiner were introduced or whatever. But Rob Reiner, of course, later directed the film.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these actors, they will often cast their friends or people that they have worked with, because who wants to work with a jerk that you can't trust?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, and especially in something that's improvisatory like this, where you kind of have to play off of each other. So.
Yeah, and there's got to be a lot of trust, and they had to trust him a lot because they didn't know what kind of nutty crap he was gonna be using. Alrighty. Well, we're gonna be doing ratings. Let's see who goes first with their rating. Why? It's Maury. Maury, order some lottery tickets. Maury, after you order the lottery ticket, what is your rating?
I give it an 8.
An 8? Okay. Do you want to justify that?
No, I mean just.
I'm going to point the white light in your eye and say, how dare you? No, go ahead. Go ahead.
That's but yeah, an 8.
An 8. Yeah. Okay, well, fair enough. How about you, Eddie?
I'd have to give it a 9. Mostly because of it initiated the style, so I have a respect for that. But also, it landed at a time where we were doing club work and playing in a little band and stuff, so it really hit home. So it had a lot of personal relevance at the time.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I think it's so fascinating, since you're not a generation above me and Maury, but you're about 10 years. So
it's about that.
So I was like in third grade, second grade when these came out, while you were maybe in the high school. So you definitely, these things had a bigger impact. I mean, if I'd have watched it when it came out, I'd have been like, well, I probably wouldn't have even been allowed to watch it. I don't know.
Probably, and you might not have made it through it because it can be boring,
I would have lasted 5 minutes and be like, what? Huh? Stupid. I was watching the friggin' Smurfs at this time. And Karate Kid, by the way, but the Karate Kid was different. Okay, well, that's cool. I would give it a 9 too. Not necessarily because of my pure enjoyment of it, but like Eddie said, I can appreciate the art of what it was. Did it keep my attention? Absolutely, it did. Can I give it a 10? No, I can't give it a 10. It wasn't that great, but it's for lack of a better word, it was a work of art. Yeah, and it's classic, and definitely people that I know that have been in bands, like my brother-in-law, for example, yeah, they just love it. They just adore it. So it definitely spoke to a lot of people.
Cool.
All right, well, let's go on to our next one. It's time for the doggies. Best in show. Maury, tell us about Best in Show.
Best in Show came out in 2000. It's a mockumentary about a dog show and the different owners of the dogs and what they're going through, how they're raising their dogs and what they do to prepare the dogs for the show and all that.
Mm-hmm. And they're all batshit crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the director is Christopher Guest, written by Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy.
Oof. Well, yeah, and of course the whole premise is it's these people that are going to this big dog show, this very big prestigious award from all over the country. You had people from, you had such stereotype. The two gay guys from New York
From
City.
New York. Yeah, exactly.
And one of them was John Michael Higg.
And the guy from America Says.
Because I understand whenever I go over to visit my parents, what do? We either watch Poirot or America Says. We watch the Game Show Network. And I was like, is that? And then I looked it up. I was like, oh my God. First of all, I don't think I've ever seen him act before.
No, I've always seen him as a game show host.
Game show host, yeah. You can look up his biography and see that he is a character actor in very many different things and guest stars and shows. But this was a pretty large role for him, and he was a very flamboyant gay man. It was definitely something else, and he was so young.
Yeah.
And they actually were kind of cool. They weren't psycho like some of the other people were.
Oh no, they were pretty tame compared to all the other couples.
Yeah, they were just kind of normal. But then they had a cute little dog, and then you had the lesbian couple where the chick from Glee, and she had this trophy wife, and
Jane Lynch.
Yeah, and she was crazy.
And Jennifer Coolidge. Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge is married to this really old dude.
So good.
Yeah.
So of course her and the dog trainer, Jane Lynch, started hooking up.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, she was just this pretty thing and all that, and she was the one who was defending her title with the poodle. And what the heck? They had these weird names for these dogs. I forget what was the name.
Yeah, I forget what the names were.
Yeah, it was crazy. And he had like butt pillows or something.
How they cut them. And the puff around the hip bones.
Yeah.
So his hips don't get.
Yeah.
And then you had the southern dog who was a bloodhound.
Yeah, the bloodhound. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just saying I like that dog.
Yeah, that dog was a sweetheart. Now that was Christopher Guest, who was the director and co-writer for the film, but he
Nigel from the first movie.
But my wife is from North Carolina or has family in that area, and she said he nailed that accent. She said she couldn't believe how accurate his depiction of someone from North Carolina would be.
Mm-hmm.
It was perfect, it was spot on.
Yeah, and it cracked me up when they were leaving, and his friends said, "You go show them Yankee dogs."
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, what a stereotype. And then you had the these were the real psychos.
Oh my gosh, the couple from Connecticut.
Yeah, tell us about them, Maury.
Oh my gosh. Well, in the trivia, it says Christopher Guest thought of this couple. He called them catalog people. Just kind of stereotypical yuppies.
Yeah.
And supposedly Parker Posey actually had braces put on, I guess not tight, you'd ruin your teeth, but for that part, she actually
that's dedication.
That is dedication. I think that's a little nuts, but you
Yeah.
know, the character was nuts. So, you know, get it makes you method actor.
Yeah, and when the movie opens, they're in therapy because they were doing some weird
Okay.
sex position.
Yes, they got the Karma Sutra and started trying to go through it.
Yeah, and they were like, and he walked in and he's been traumatized, and you're thinking, or they're thinking they're talking about their child, and then you realize it's the dog.
They're talking about the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, they were crazy, and there's this stupid bumblebee toy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's when they went totally berserk. Now they're
Yeah.
actually those characters were pretty. They let you believe going in that it's the Parker Posey character, it's the lady, that she's the one that's really insane. But as things begin to fall apart and they lose the toy and whatnot, the one that really is nuts is the husband, and he goes absolutely full tilt bozos. I mean, and you just, oh, wait a minute, he's the one that's nuts. She's like only semi nuts, you know. But yeah, he's full blown mixed nuts, man. He's just
Well, and not only that, she when they lost that toy, and I seem to think that the dog probably didn't give a rat's rear end about the toy.
probably not.
They seem to be like those people that treat their dogs like they're real children, and they projected all these things onto the dog. The dog's just sitting there going, whatever. They're like, he can't survive without his bumblebee.
Right.
Then she went and terrorized that guy at the pet store.
Yeah.
And he's just like, how about this? He's like, does that look like a bumblebee?
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. I also found that funny because the way toward the end of that scene, the guy at the cash register, you could tell he started to get that blank look on his face, like, okay, it's one of those days, and it's one of those. I'll just sit here and let the customer be weird, and hopefully they'll leave.
Yeah, he did convey all of that.
Yeah, so that was great, and
Yeah.
and then eventually, the dog got disqualified because
it jumped on the judge. He was barking and stuff.
Yeah. Probably because he was saying, "Help me."
Probably, get me away from these maniacs.
Yeah, so he got disqualified, and was it a she? I forget. But either way, that dog disappeared by the end of the.
Yeah, they were disqualified. Now there was another couple. Is the Eugene Levy,
And
Catherine O'Hara couple, where he has two left feet, literally.
Yes.
and that was actually a good story arc for them.
Oh yeah, it was
in their terrier.
Yeah, that.
Oh, they had an ugly dog.
Flashback of what he looked like, and it's like, oh my gosh, when he was in high school, and everyone they visit, it's like,
oh, I know.
Went to sleep with her.
She slept with everybody.
Yeah.
Even the guy calling the show, he's like, I think I may know that handler. You know.
Yeah,
that was.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying that when they were eating with their friends, that they were spending the night, and the husband of the couple they were staying with just started like winking at her and looking and licking his lips, and you're like, oh my! And her husband is like Catherine O'Hara's husband. He's just like, what?
I know what. Yeah. And then just the end when they're doing their recording, and he goes, the engineer stops him down and references she's. Oh gosh, what does he say? Something like, at any rate, she says, oh, so and so, but you've grown. And he's like, well, I'm actually kind of growing a little bit right now. And her husband is standing right there next to him.
He's like banging his head on the mic.
Banging his head on the mic.
Yeah. Well, and the poor guy, the fact that everyone feels so comfortable just hitting on her so.
Oh, I know. He's like not even there.
I know. The poor guy.
But the way it was just good storytelling, he had to rise above it all, and actually, she injures herself, and he has to
Yeah,
he has to actually present the dog and lead it around the ring with his 2 left feet, where he's got a story of how he first learned to walk straight, and this kind of stuff. But he has to, that's, like I said, it's good storytelling. It's good payoff. He's the one that rises and saves the day, and they go on and win.
And the dog wins. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just unbelievable because that terrier, man,
I thought he was hideous.
he was looking hard bark or something. I don't know. Like, ugh.
Well, watching that, I felt the way I feel when I watch the real dog show. I think it's rigged. How can they say that one dog is better than another dog?
That's why they have a standard. They really do. They have like a very specific and a very set standard, and they have to measure it against that. So they can't really get personal about it, I wouldn't think. No, but how do you not?
How the heck was that terrier more up to standard than, say, the bloodhound?
And then the bloodhound was pretty.
The bloodhound was a beautiful animal. Man, oh man. I don't know. It's just it was just this because the writers needed him to win.
To win.
To win. They
rigged.
needed it to win,
Yeah.
But I read too that they couldn't do any filming in a real kennel show, a real dog show like that. So the show that we saw was all staged. They brought in extras and did all of that, put the whole thing together. So.
Well, wow, actually, well done.
Yeah, because it looked real. It looked like you were at a real dog show.
Yeah, I like the poodle too. I thought the poodle was pretty.
Poodle's pretty, yeah. They're smart.
And then when they're not Pekingese, the palm.
Oh, the palm. Yeah, the little palm.
Oh,
palms are just adorable.
Yeah. Well, and Maury, they had that commentator who just kept saying inappropriate.
Oh my God. He was in Spinal Tap as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fred Willard. Yeah, he was. He's really, really excellent at that part. He kind of plays that same sort of character in the next film as well.
Oh gosh, yeah, and the waiting for Guffman.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Were there any other favorite moments in it? Well, when the character, the ones that win, Catherine O'Hara and their couple, that their credit card was.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They couldn't get their credit card to go through.
And they're like, "Can you pay cash?" And they break out a few dollar bills, and you can just tell the beleaguered hotel man.
Bless their hearts.
Yeah, even their storage closet.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and they had different pee cups or something for the different dogs, different sized ones, or I forget what that was. That was wild. I think that was actually at the show.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Well, the running gag with her having slept with just about anybody they run into, that's very well handled. The way they, that's a funny thing that keeps popping up in the movie, which I thought was kind of cool. You can tell that, and all the actors, well, not all of them, but a lot of these actors came through Second City TV out of Toronto. Do you remember SCTV?
Oh,
it was a Canadian show. It was a contemporary of Saturday Night Live. It was right around that same time. People like John Candy, Martin Short, Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy. These all guys came through Second City TV. So, and that was an improvisational thing, a lot like Saturday Night Live. So these guys are all, they were together performing when they were kids, essentially.
Oh, I did not know that.
So that's part of probably why it flows so well for them to improv.
Yeah, flow so well, and that obviously they get along because they keep coming back for these movies.
Yeah, they must enjoy working together.
Yeah, no, I actually adored this movie. Out of all, spoiler alert, out of all three of them, this was my favorite. Maybe it was because of the dogs. I don't know, but but no, it was fun. It was fun. Well, before we get to our conclusion of this, Maury, you lost. Okay, Eddie, is there anything you want to say about this movie before we go on to our final scores?
We seem to have pretty well covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was my first viewing of this film. This was the first time I'd ever seen it. I'd heard a lot about it, but never seen it. And I must say, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it wasn't like Spinal Tap. It wasn't a moment in time, a snapshot of something cultural. I think the way that this is Spinal Tap was, and by this point, maybe we were more used to that kind of style. I don't know, Maury, anything you want to you want to add before I go to Eddie for his final score?
No,
we got it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Eddie, let's hear it.
You know, I have to give it an 8. It doesn't have the, like I said, place and time of, so there's no. But as a film, seeing it for the first time, I'd give it a good solid 8, and I might even up that to a 9 with a second viewing. It's just really smooth as silk the way these guys play off of each other, knowing that a lot of it's not scripted, and they really capture nuance and stuff. And it's just, and this film was actually the later film. This came out in like 2000. You say?
Yeah,
2000. Yeah, so it was the most polished of the 3.
It was the most polished. Exactly. They had kind of honed that craft down. You can feel the films getting from going to Spinal Tap and through these films. They get better as they get more. I don't know if they get more budget or if they just get more time to polish it out. So, but it was good. A solid 8, easy.
Oh, okay, so easily solid 8. How about you, Maury?
I'll give this one a 9.
Like this one.
Yeah, I like the dogs.
we're petty that way. Well, y'all are dog owners. You got, well, I don't know if your dogs are best in show, but
no. They're Dumb and Dumber.
No, they're yeah. we have a neurotic Chihuahua, long-haired Chihuahua, and a somewhat aged Doty-Do Pekingese dog.
They're sweet, but dumb.
They're sweet as they can be. They really are, but they're
dumb as a rock.
Dumb as a rock.
Dumb as a rock. Yeah.
What can you say?
Yeah, we have. My family got a dog. He was a rescue, 3 years old, and he is the dumbest dog I've ever met in my entire life. but I mean, but in Kid's case, I call him our Russian orphan, because he was neglected. It's very sad. He was neglected by his owners, and eventually he escaped, or they abandoned him, and he was living on the street. So it's like he didn't have the interaction. So as he's going to these classes, the dog trainer is like, well, let him be around other dogs so he can figure out what he's supposed to do as a dog. And he's like developmentally disabled. It's like, it's so sad, but he's been starting to be like a dog. You've seen it, but they're so cute. You just gotta love them. Yeah. So yeah, well, you're best in shows. Your cats, you got fancy cats. I mean, speaking of which, look at that thing right there.
Oh, those Martian cats. Yeah.
There's Rufus.
Yeah, Persians, purebred. So, well, I would give it probably 9 objectively, 9.5 for enjoyment, because I just like dogs as well, especially dogs that aren't mine. Because dogs, it takes too much to look after them. But I love that the people on the other side of the family have one that I can just go across the street and play with and then send back. But it was funny. I really, in the way that the dog parents were behaving, it was to me very relatable, not because I know dog parents like that, but I sure as heck know stage parents like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy people. And and how everyone, usually when they're around and everyone's just got that blank look on their face, like, I'm in the presence of crazy. I just, don't blink. Don't make any sudden move.
Yeah.
So I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, well, I think that's it. Now we're gonna go. Oh, frack! I didn't type it out. The third one, which maybe I would have done it second if I hadn't been living the life I've been living these last 24 hours. I just reached a point where I'm like, screw it. Let's just do it. Let's do it live. And this final one is waiting for Guffman. So, Maury, why don't you tell us about Waiting for Guffman?
Oh my gosh. Waiting for Guffman is from 1996. Director Christopher Guest, writers Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy. But it's very small town. With their celebrating their 150th anniversary. So they're putting on this town festival, and Corky gets picked to.
Well, they're going to have a big show depicting a big stage show
for the history.
That's
of the
big
town.
Finale to the festival.
And the history of the town, how it's founded and all.
So, and then you have Corky St. Clair, who's moved there from New York he's a director and a playwright and whatnot. So he gets contracted he's been in town for a little while working with the high school, but he gets the job of writing the musical and casting it and all of that. And the film just follows basically the development of that show. Pretty hilarious, really.
Yeah. I can completely relate to a lot of what was going into this stage show, from the town where it was to the general mediocrity, but also non-mediocrity, if that makes sense. Like, these people were very amateur and all that, but they still managed to put on a show, and the audience not being, I don't want to say non-sophisticated, but
they're not experienced.
They're not experienced. And so, like, when they sat around and would do these little dance moves that maybe weren't that impressive, they were all like, yeah, and clapping. And in many ways, maybe more appreciative than some audiences I've seen on Broadway, where they should, by golly, be getting that kind of a thing. So I just realized I was starting to sound snobby, but I wasn't. I really was saying that definitely relate to that. And as they go through the audition process, you have the music teacher, who's just, I've been a music teacher, in this same town for 25 years. And it's just like, oh my God. And then the horrible auditions. And the expressions on their faces as they're watching the audition. Because you can't do like what they do on American Idol and say, you suck, and say all these horrible things. You just got to be I've sat in that chair before during auditions, and you're just sitting there going, well, that was some performance.
That was something.
That was something else. And then that one guy, the same character, gosh darn it, what's his real name? The dude who was the dentist.
Oh, Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
Dr. Pearl.
Yeah, Dr. Pearl. He was
the dentist.
And how dare they get away with this? They're in this tiny, tiny town, and the dentist is a Jew. I'm like, really? It's like, oh my gosh. And they were terrible. There was that one part where they went out to.
Oh, you have Fred Willard and Catherine O'Hara again, and they play travel agents who've never left Blaine. Blaine, Missouri is the town.
Yeah, and she got so drunk and started saying really inappropriate questions about about
relationships with the Jewish
What's
man.
it like being with a circumciser?
Well,
exactly. And they're all and her husband's like, bring her some water. I think you don't need any more wine.
Here, don't dry out.
Yeah. So there was that, and his singing was so horrible. But but by the time the show happened, they actually were able to make him kind of decent.
Yeah, he really wasn't terrible. It's interesting too, though, that his character in this film in Guffman has a lazy eye. So he's got these real thick glasses that he has to take on. But in the previous film or the next film, he has the two left feet. So I wonder if that's kind of a theme with Eugene Levy's character of
Yeah.
I mean, literally 2 left feet. That was hysterical to look
Yeah.
at. But he has to take his glasses off because he's playing a character from the 1800s, and they didn't have those. So the director, Corky, makes him take his glasses off.
Yeah. And and then speaking of Corky, the guy, the director, the beleaguered director who really deep down was, you could tell, wanted to be on Broadway and was a failed actor. Oh boy. And speaking of which, that was a little bit of the whole waiting for Guffman thing, which is he was like, they might be taking us to Broadway, and I'm like, no, they're not.
They're not.
yeah, they're taking you to the moon.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, it was a small town amateur play that the amateurs that that people obviously enjoyed it, but on the other hand, that was also the pretension there, and also what was it? Corky had a quote unquote had a wife, but no one had ever seen or heard or knew who she was or something, because
exactly. Nobody ever seen her. So.
It's
she's
like,
out of town a lot.
It's like, I'm not gay, I've got a wife, and it's like, well, no, obviously he was gay, and at one point he leaves the the production, and
because they won't give him enough money to do the show, so he quits.
He wanted
he can't deal with you people. You're all bastard people.
Exactly.
So when you tell me you're not going to give me any money.
He wanted to have $100,000
for a tiny town. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Yes. But they get him back though. The funny thing is you have the conflict between Lloyd, the musical director, who's directed most of the plays and stuff up until then, and then but you have a conflict between him and Corky. So when Corky quits, he announces that he's taken over the show. But then Corky shows back up, and you get this really bad look from that whole tension thing there. But they smooth it out. And the weirdness is when the show actually starts, the overture sounds fantastic. I mean, relatively speaking.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's another thing I related to. Fantastic pit orchestra.
Yeah.
They had really good musicians there. Which you will find, like, even in, gosh, I'm sounding like a snob. I said, even in small towns. No, but this is the truth. And I will say this till the cows come home, that there is no better place where you will find better music than in public school music programs. I mean, whether it's a tiny town, whether it's a big town, that you'll always have at least a marching band or something, and they're fantastic.
Yeah.
So I thought that was also very true to life, and of course the whole joke, waiting for Guffman. It was really it was like waiting for Godot, or is it Godot? How are you supposed to pronounce the actual play?
I've always heard Godot. But I don't know. I have no idea whether that's right or not. I could have been talking to idiots. So,
Well, I got confused because when Gail, the chick who plays Wonder Woman, when she came, everyone was calling her Godot, and then she's like, no, it's actually Godot. It's Hebrew, and so now I don't even know how the hell to pronounce any of these words.
The people who come with cue cards is all because. Or name tags. I don't know. Yeah. I'm like you. But I've always heard waiting for Godot, but I don't know.
Yeah, waiting for Godot. Okay, we'll go with that. Yeah, here at Miss Martin Muses, we choose a pronunciation, and by golly, we stick with it. So it's Godot. But that was the whole thing, that Guffman never actually showed up, but they'd left a seat for him, and they thought that was him, but it really wasn't. It was just some dude coming to.
It was Bentley from the Jeffersons.
From the Jeffersons,
yeah. Jeffersons, yeah.
Bentley from the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
He was in the hotel in Spinal
Tap.
He was the hotel clerk in Spinal Tap. So.
Yeah.
And he's not actually British.
No.
Right. Something we forgot about in Best in Show. Who was that plays the hotel manager there? Or was that
Ed Bailey?
Ed Bailey. He talks about, was it him that was talking about the having a rock band in the hotel, and they destroyed the room and all this kind of stuff. And he was referencing Spinal Tap.
Yeah,
But
they roasted a goat.
Yeah, they roasted. Said, "Oh, roasted a goat in the room." I don't. So anyway,
it was a Spinal Tap reference.
A reference to the were roasting goats in their hotel room. It would be fresh, I suppose.
And
lamb chop.
Yeah.
Goat
So.
chops.
Oh, we forgot to talk about the chick. She was the same one who played the crazy chick in Best in Show. The girl who worked at Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What'd you think of her, Maury?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was very typical of a small town.
And the way they put it, but like her expertise, and like I make shakes, and she had a dad in prison, and and then at the end, she ended up in Alabama working at another Dairy Queen.
Exactly, she's working on perfecting a health food blizzard.
Yeah, but she was the one who kind of played all the parts that maybe might have been romantic in the show, and then she did this ballet thing.
Right.
The town tart.
Yeah. My personal favorite part from the actual show was the alien.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Supposedly Blaine, was visited by aliens.
Yeah. And they had like this alien coming down and singing on the inside. It was just insane, but but that was loads of fun. Oh, Timona says, "Oh, my pick is District 9 and The Gods Must Be Crazy too." Oh, like for mockumentaries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't.
The Gods Must Be Crazy. That's the gold standard there. That movie is absolutely fantastic. If you've never seen it, look it up and see it.
All this.
I mean, goodness.
They were a Coca-Cola bottle.
Overall, and the narrator in that film is just fantastic. So Gods Must Be Crazy is a must see, definitely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the whole mockumentaries. Okay, well, let's see who's gonna. Well, Maury, you're on the fence, rather, about whether you need to order a lottery ticket. Oh, order a lottery ticket. Okay. More. Okay, so before we move on to our scores for this, Maury, is there any last words, anything we haven't talked about, waiting for Guffman, that you would like to bring to our attention?
Well, I liked Corky's dance moves.
Oh my gosh. When he's battling with his muse.
That was hilarious. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love Corky.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
In the trivia, it says Fred Willard didn't understand the line was in the play. What did your keen and perceptive eyes behold to the doctor? And the doctor's got the lazy eyes. When he finally saw Eugene Levy doing the lazy eye thing, then he just busted out laughing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then he had to leave for about 10 minutes to recover.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there were definitely some laugh out loud moments. And Jacob Iron said, I think this is from The Gods Must Be Crazy. Don't start a fire when there's a rhino nearby.
Absolutely. Do not if you know there's rhinos around, because they'll stomp out your fire.
No, well, there we are. You see, we give practical advice here at Miss Martin Muses. Practical advice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Blindfold your rhinos if you're going to build a fire.
Precisely. There we are. Okay, Eddie, anything else? Anything you'd like to?
Well, I thought it was interesting that the city of Blaine was actually founded by people who thought they were going to California or to the West Coast. They were going to the Pacific Ocean, and they ended up at the Missouri River, and thought that it was the ocean and it was just low tide, and so they built their city there, and there it was 150 years later.
Oh. Yep, there we go. And I think a lot of towns were kind of started like that.
Yeah, it's where they ended up, and but they kind of play it though like the city itself was founded by people who were really not the sharpest tool in the drawer.
No. No.
So it's no wonder that the whole city's kind of goofy and
Yeah. Yeah, but at least it's not like some of those propped up like from the Donner Pass or something. I mean, like, dang.
Yeah.
That been, they, as far as we know, these people didn't have to resort to cannibalism to survive. That would have sucked. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, well, I don't know, Maury, if you had time to formulate, tabulate, think about, and prognosticate upon your score.
My score. I had to give Waiting for Guffman a 10. I thought this movie was absolutely hilarious.
Wow.
And I absolutely love Corky.
No.
He's adorbs.
Well, holy, wow. That's a high praise indeed. Okay, so you loved it. Yeah. Oh, okay. How about you, Eddie?
Well, honestly, I might have to give it like a 9.9. Just, it's not something that has a lot of mass appeal. It's not for everybody. And I did remember something else. Part of what made the town of Blaine grow up was that a president came through and a kid had made a footstool and gave it to the president, and he took it with him. And all of a sudden they were making footstools in Blaine, and they were having a renaissance, and they were making what grew up the town, and Blaine became known as the stool capital of the world.
Oh yeah.
I know. So 9.9 probably. Yeah.
Okay, well, may I ask, what was that 0.1 that kept it from being a 10? I didn't want to shine I'm not shining the white light in your eye.
No. I'm wondering what it is. Maybe it's just the uniqueness of it. Like I said, it's not a mass appeal kind of film. It doesn't. It's. I don't know. There's just one little element that might. I don't know. Just a 0.1, I guess, just for lack of being perfect.
No, that's completely understandable. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. 10 is definitely high praise. When I look at what I give a 10 to, is something where I just genuinely can't think of anything that is wrong with it or anything that keeps it from being just something I'm just completely going to recommend. I'd probably give this an 8.5. Maybe a 9. I guess what I was thinking is I cannot objectively say there's anything wrong with this, but out of all three of them, this is the one I enjoyed the least, and I don't know why, because I am being a musician and having done all this. It just, Spinal Tap was all unique and funny and quirky and 80s. Best in Show had the dogs, and this, it was just small town weirdness. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's definitely not for everyone. Definitely.
Yeah. But also, I can't say there's anything really wrong with it. The acting was good. The casting was good. Yeah, obviously, you could tell they were all having a good time, and they were, they're a bunch of crazy people. But I mean, it's all good, I guess.
Well, 8.5 is good.
Yeah. Also, that is the triple review for this month. That's a triple review for this month. This is going to be a monthly thing. I think most of my shows, except for my Saturday, are going to go into monthly shows just because I don't want to go that crazy. But I really do enjoy all of these shows. And of course, I love my audience. The chat is always so much fun. Thank you for being here, Jacob Ironside. Thank you, Keck44. Thank you, Timon. Thank you for doing that and for promoting and sharing this out. I think, Sultan Al Saim, thank you for being here. And thank you all those that were coming in and out and that might be watching this on the replay. And as always, thank you to my panelists who I might actually get to see in real life. I might. The plan is, because this stupid pandemic has just kept us too far apart for too long, but I'm really hoping to be able to make it in person, unless they come up with some random other kind of variant of a variant of a variant. But fingers crossed on that. Fingers crossed. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain I don't know, just be certain not to hang around a bunch of quirky weirdos, which are in all of these. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what cautionary tale we're learning from these. But you heard it here first. Have a good one. Goodbye.